So Pierre, you work with financial services institutions all over the world. What are you seeing as far as redesigning jobs and redesigning compensation models to focus on business value, so outcome rather than input? Are you seeing any change over the last few years?
Yeah, I think that, it's a big concern. Compensation nowadays, it's a big concern for a lot of stakeholders. I mean, the regulator, of course, the shareholders have the ones who have the say, the employees. So a lot of people are, I would say, focused on, how can we improve the compensation model and make it more, relevant, given the fact also that you got a pressure in the financial services industry on the cost-income ratio. And, of course, salaries are a lot of the cost, a significant part of the cost. So, I mean, but the fact is, what we observe is that, despite this momentum and despite this interest from different stakeholders, the progress haven't been there, and it's a little bit disappointing in terms of innovation regarding compensation. It's still not focused on the outcome. It's more, very traditional.
I would agree with you, actually. I think there's a lot of dialogue and focus on job redesign, but not necessarily yet the shift in compensation models. I think some of that might be to do with the ability to measure the culture inside organizations, people being willing to let go of longevity of employment having an impact on their compensation. So I'm seeing a change in the dialogue around job redesign, but I'm not yet seeing it around compensation shift.
Yeah, job redesign, absolutely. I agree with you. I mean, because there is a will and definitely a strategy to simplify the organizations and try to get rid of the complexity that we had before. It's part of the efforts to be fit for growth, as a matter of fact. But there is definitely a strong expectation in terms of transparency and a lot of scrutiny around compensation. And so I think that, this matter, especially for the new generations, is top of the list and very, very important for a lot of stakeholders.
It's going to be interesting, actually, to see what happens because, the digitization of the workforce and the digitization of work is actually forcing some extent of job redesign. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how that evolves and starts to change compensation models when tasks are literally, when jobs are literally, as we know, broken into tasks, and some of those tasks are being automated. But again, it's interesting that hasn't yet rippled down to really having that impact on how people are compensated.
Well, we come back on the value. I mean, what is the value, that is delivered by the employee, and how can we measure that? And therefore, all the discussion is going to be how we measure the value and the outcome and the impact on the business.
Yeah.